How's it going, guys? So I bought this $30 surfboard on Marketplace. It's in really rough shape. She had it listed that it only had one ding. I'm gonna turn it around for y'all. As you can see right here, pretty solid chunk out right there. Another chunk here. Big old gash right there. The whole tip is all screwed up. And pretty much all the way around the board is in really rough shape, and it was missing the middle fin, which is okay because I actually have another fin I could put on there. And all this foam on here was rough too. Now this is all ripped up, and these front pieces actually came off pretty easy. But my plan for this board is to fix all the dents in the holes, give it a nice good sand with, I think I got like 320 grit, a sand sponge, sand it down real good, and paint it with, let me turn these lights on here. So I got some acrylic paint, because that's what I read is best for fiberglass. So I got this off-white satin ivory that I'm going to do as the base coat, and then this nice looking matte finish vintage teal, and then just an acrylic clear coat I'm going to put on there. And I've already repaired the dings on the side. I'm probably going to give it another go around, but this is what I use, this Solaris. It cures in UV light. And so you can still see, like right there, I'm gonna have to add some material back here and give it a real good sand. Pretty much anywhere there's a low spot, I'm gonna add this in there. But right now I'm just trying to get the dirty work all done. And we'll see how it turns out. So stay tuned. All right, so we got all the padding off. And so now I just got to get off this residue left over. So I stole some acetone and some rubbing alcohol. I got a little razor blade, the big one right here. Hopefully that'll get it off. We can kind of work on, finish up, shaping up the sides, give it a good sanding, and hopefully get some paint on here soon. All right, I think I got all as much of the residue as I'm gonna get off with the acetone here. So you can see there's still like a good bit of residue on there. But I think once it dries overnight, I'll be able to come in here with the sandpaper and sand the rest of those rough edges off. And also, don't make the mistake I made right here. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but that right there is a soft spot. My original plan, what I've done in the past, is just use heat to heat up the EVA foam that was on there and the 3M adhesive and peel it right off. But I'm pretty sure it just melted the foam that's actually inside this fiberglass. So luckily, that's not in the middle of the board or anything. It's kind of where like my toes will go when I'm surfing, or even my heel, but really it'll be right here is the meat of the board. So now that that's all off, gonna sand it down, gonna paint it, and then the final step is gonna be I'm gonna add this EVA teak foam that I actually used on my 2001 Taiga 2100V, which I sold last summer. I completely replaced the entire original carpet with that EVA foam, and that's just what I have left over. So I'm pretty familiar with that product. So hopefully we'll get this sanded pretty soon. See how that turns out. All right, so I got all the residue off the board. So now we're about to hit it. I got like a 220 grit sandpaper right here. It might be rougher than that, so we're gonna hit it with that. And then I got like a 340 grit to finish it off. So we'll get the top of it all done, and I'll go through, see what spots are lower around the edges where it's all dinged up. And then sand the bottom real good. It's got these decals, some logos underneath. Sand all that down. You can see that right there, real bad spot. Make sure that's filled in all the way. Probably needs more material right there. So we're gonna sand that up and then prep it for paint. All right, got the base coat painted on the board. Turned out pretty good. You can definitely see some imperfections. Or I probably could have spent some more time sanding, but the whole point of this project is to keep it cheap, keep it easy, and make it look a lot better than what it did when I bought it. So what I'm gonna do now is tape it up. I think I'm gonna go for like an old style surfboard look. So I'll have the white stripe coming down and the white edges. And then the turquoise on the inside. Actually, I think I'm gonna swap that. I'm gonna do that reverse. So it'll be turquoise rails around, and then a turquoise stripe down the middle. And this is the color I'm using. It's actually a vintage teal, and it's a matte finish. And then once I get that taped off and painted, let it dry. And then I got this clear coat, all-in-one clear coat. I don't know if you can see that. Gloss clear that I'll hit the whole thing with. And then I'll cut out some foam pads for my feet out of this right here. About 3 millimeters thick. I saved the foam pads that were on the foot part that are elevated. These right here, these little wedges. So I'll try to utilize those to keep it up in the rear right here. See how it turns out. All right, so I got all the paint done on here. All that's left is the clear coat on the outside of it. So it's not the most perfect paint job, but from a distance it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's nice and smooth. There's definitely some, definitely could have sanded that better, which I knew that going into it. I really just didn't want to put the time into it. Got a little bit of orange peel going on there. It's all okay with me though. This thing's gonna be beat up in the water anyway. So I'm really not that worried about it. The front side, kind of messed up right here in the middle. When I flipped it over, the paint was still a little bit wet when I set it on the wood underneath here. That's okay, that's gonna get covered up by the foam pad, the EVA foam. But I like the color scheme a lot. This is a almond white, and then this is that vintage teal matte finish. I think it turned out, my lines turned out all right, pretty straight. I really can't complain too much. So now we go with the clear coat. All right, guys, just finished up. Let's check it out. Just got the foam on. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. There's definitely a lot of imperfections in there. But like I said earlier in the video, like the whole point of this was to get a cheap board, because boards are outrageously expensive. They're like $500 for like a decent like entry level Phase 5 one or something. So I got this. It's like a CWB. It was originally $300 like 5 years ago when it was new. But I added this here, put a little bump up underneath that step right there just to cut an extra piece of this foam deck. Stuck it up under there. And I think it's gonna serve pretty good. You can see whatever clear coat that I started to use, I guess it wasn't fully ready. And all this is kind of coming up. Put a heat gun on it though, so hopefully it's all dried up. But we're gonna take it on the lake this weekend and see how it goes. But even if it doesn't function well, at least it looks pretty good from a distance. See y'all on the water. All right, guys, we got the board out on the water. I screwed up the paint, so the clear coat didn't actually set right, but we're gonna try it out anyway. You see it's all kind of wrinkling and chipping off, but oh well. We're gonna get turned around over here. We're gonna try it out. So we'll see how that goes.